friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. I was going to say happy Tuesday, but you're going to see this on a Saturday. I'm recording this on a Tuesday morning because there is no other time that I will be able to record it this week. This week is crazy. It is full of shenanigans. We will get to that later. If you are looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, the Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. Both of those are linked directly down below, as well as our Ravelry group for this podcast, where the Lisa Frank Make-Along is currently running. I've been wanting to do this for ages. I'm literally so excited. There's some chatter going on in the Ravelry thread already. There's some chatter going on in the Slack group for my Patreon specific ones because they have different prizes. It has come to my attention that some of y'all do not know who Lisa Frank is. And apparently, Lisa Frank was an American phenomenon that happened in the 90s and early 2000s when I was a tween, a preteen, a teenager. Every girl I knew who was my age was obsessed with her. And honestly, I'm still kind of obsessed with her. And you could get like felt posters to color. You could get, what else? Trapper keepers, folders, pencil cases, all kinds of things for school. Like if you were cool, you had Lisa Frank stuff. This is what some of the stuff looks like. So you can get a picture of the vibes. Neon, adorable. See all of these cute little animals. They're so cute. I was particularly obsessed with the cats. Lisa Frank still has a website. Very much, oh, the glare. Very much 90s vibes. Look at all that. It's so cute. So if you don't know about Lisa Frank, now you do. You can still get the merch. You can get phone cases now. Phones were not a thing when Lisa Frank was around. But all you have to do to participate in this make-along is either make something in neon-colored yarn, therefore it automatically qualifies, or make up some shenanigans about how it relates to Lisa Frank. I want to see some good storytelling. You can make something out of brown. I don't care. You can make something out of literally any color, any project, any craft, as long as it semi-relates to fiber arts. Just make up some shenanigans about how it relates to Lisa Frank, and there will be prizes. I have one project that I'm working on, the neon pink and orange yarn, that you will see later, that I'm very excited about. What are we going to talk about? So many things. I actually made myself some notes today, which I never do. I just get on here and talk, but my brain is so scattered that I was like, oh, I need to keep track. So, Lisa Frank, Mal, we've already talked about. Normally I'm just drinking boring water, right? Because I love water, but I'm drinking something fancy today. It is a Trader Joe's purchase sparkling guava juice beverage. It's basically sparkling water with guava juice in it, and I put it in this to keep it cold. And I also put some bitters in it, some plum bitters and peach bitters, which are normally for like cocktail mixing. There's literally just like sparkling water and bitters in here. My husband makes cocktails and he's got me putting bitters in everything. Like get some bitters and add it to a ginger ale. Blow your mind. I'm drinking this because I need a little sugar because your girl is tired. Okay? Next, I have a giveaway. I know. Last podcast episode, I showed y'all and told you about the Hooks and Needles subscription box, and I showed you the crochet box and the knitting box. I have not yet started the crochet crossbody pouch or the little knit purse that I'm going to make for Nova because I'm still working on her floor pouf, and I am determined to get that finished before I start any new projects. But I actually have a giveaway of an entire box, the Hooks and Needles subscription box. This is the crochet box. They sent this to me actually before the boxes that I reviewed last time, so you have not seen this one, okay? I'm going to give away this entire box. The only thing that is missing out of here is there was a piece of chocolate that Nova ran away with and ate. So I'm deeply sorry there's no chocolate in here. It was like a Lindor, truffle kind of a thing. She scarfed it before I even had a chance to blink. So the chocolate will not be included in this box, but I will put like a bag of tea or something nice in there. So I want to show you what's in here. And this is completely free to you. I will mail it to you. You just have to enter the giveaway. And I'll give you instructions on how to do that in a minute, so hold tight. What is in here is, of course, their magazine. It has projects in it, which I will show you. You can make a pot coaster. Where is the finished product? Well, it doesn't really have a very good picture of the finished product, but it's basically a mug coaster in crochet. You can make an amigurumi bunny. So cute. And you can make a flower wreath, which I'm actually kind of interested in making this, except it's a lot of different pieces, but that is gorgeous. So you can make that. It has the patterns for that. It has 3 balls of yarn in here. This is Perennial Blossom yarn by Hooks and Needles. It is 100% bamboo in these 3 colors. It is super soft. Like, this is definitely a fingering weight yarn. Yeah, you get almost 200 yards for 50 grams. It is super duper duper soft. You also get a little container of spring jasmine tea, which smells amazing. You will get 2 crochet hooks. I'm gonna drop everything. There is eyes for the bunny if you would like to make the bunny. And then there is stuffing to make the bunny as well. That is vacuum packed. Dropping everything. So that is what is in the giveaway, and then I will put a few bags of tea or something in there as well. Maybe a stitch marker. And this is like a spring box. This box is no longer available because every month they change the box, right? So all you have to do to enter the giveaway is, number 1, be a subscriber to this channel. So you must subscribe. Number 2, you must comment below and give me your favorite summer pattern, whether that's knitting or crochet, making of any kind. It can be sewing. I want it to be summery, so it can be literally any topic. It can be a wearable, it can be whatever. Just put your favorite summer pattern with like the name of it, maybe the designer. You don't have to put the designer, but your favorite summer thing that you like to make. Put that down below because I would love to get some ideas. And then I will use a random number generator and pick a winner from the next podcast episode, which should go up in 2 weeks. And I will mail this to you. So yes, Lisa Frank Make-Along, Hooks and Needles giveaway. What else shall we talk about? Yarn, perhaps what we're here for. Let's talk about Nova's Floor Pouf, because I was so excited to have this done for this podcast episode, and I am so close. I'm literally 4 rows away from the pieces being done, but I hurt my elbow a week ago, maybe a little longer. And so I have not been able to work on this as much as I would like. I've been trying to do 1 row a night. I did not do one last night because yesterday was crazy, but I've been pretty consistent keeping up with it. I generally have like shoulder, elbow problems. Like I have some tennis elbow that I've had since college. And like I have some nerve entrapment underneath this arm. This is where all your nerves come out, like right here. They go down your arm. And so these 2 fingers go numb quite a lot for me. And I always have just like pain right here. So I have to be careful what kinds of things I crochet. If it's a really tight gauge, it bothers me, which is why I don't generally make amigurumi. But I actually hurt my elbow, and I'm really not sure how. It feels very much like I pulled something, or like, I don't know. It has just been so painful. And my thumb also, when I move it a certain way, like feels like it's on fire. So like even when I'm doing this, it's tingling. So there's just one certain way that I move my thumb that it like tingles and burns, which is definitely a nerve thing. So I don't know what I did. Maybe something holding the baby. I don't know, but my arm has been really bothering me, like to the point where I have had to take medicine, like Tylenol, ibuprofen, and it is much better than it was a week ago, but it still bothered me. So I haven't really been able to work on this as much as I would like to, but it's close to being done. I am using a 6.5 millimeter Tunisian crochet hook. This is a Denise interchangeable Tunisian crochet hook. I will leave a link to this down below. I love those Tunisian hooks. They're like the only ones I want to use. They're just amazing. The yarn I am using for this is Bernat Blanket yarn by Yarn Inspirations. in the colorway dark gray. I am on my third ball. I have 4 balls. I think I am going to have to break into the 4th ball. I don't think that this is going to get me through 4 more rows. So it's a good thing I have 4 balls. Last time I talked, I had showed you these 2 completed panels. This is the top and the bottom of the floor pouf. These are 14 inches by 14 inches. They don't look like they're 14 inches by 14, they look like rectangles, but there's not a lot of stretch this way, but there is some stretch this way. And that's just how crochet works. Crochet and Tunisian crochet. So this is a super dense fabric. I am not planning on weaving in any of these ends. I'm just gonna tie them off because it's a floor pouf, who cares? They're gonna be on the inside. I'm gonna tie them off and then just trim them a little closer. So the top and the bottom have been done. What I have been working on is the panel that goes around all 4 sides. I could have made this in 4 panels, but I just didn't want to. It may turn out that this is the wrong size and I end up with a little extra fabric, which is fine. I'll just like sew it in somehow. It has grown a lot. Let me tell you, making it in 4 panels probably would have been a smarter decision because the rows on this, they're so long. There's 158 stitches. And I mean, look at this gauge. It's so tight. It's so plush and smooshy. I have, this stitch marker is not where I was last time. I think I was down here last time. I have literally done a huge amount. Like I said, only have 4 more rows left to get to 10 inches, which is the height of the foam that I have for her floor cushion. This is here when I calculated out how many rows I had left to do. I had 8 left to do, and so I put this here, and I can just easily count how many I've done. I know in my head that I have 4 rows left. I'll give you a close-up. I just love how Tunisian crochet knit stitch looks. And this little sheep was part of a keychain that I got in Ireland when we were there in 2018, and I made stitch markers out of it. I have a couple other colored sheep too that came on that keychain. It's just one of my most favorite. Like, it reminds me of good times. I did not bring the foam out here to show you because it's too much to lug around. But I did, in my head, I was thinking I had to get to 9 inches. But I did go and measure it before, and I actually needed to get to 10 inches. So I need 3, I was only 1 row away from finishing this, but it wouldn't have fit. So I'm actually 4 rows away, plus a bind off. So yes, I imagine sewing this together is going to be kind of a nightmare. I'm planning on sewing the side to the bottom, and then I'm going to sew the top to maybe 2 sides, 2.5 sides, then put the foam in and then crochet the rest of it. I don't know if I'm going to sew the sides or I'm going to like single crochet join them. I don't need it to look like amazing because a toddler is going to be sitting on it. But she does keep bothering me about it. She's like, Mom, it sure is taking you a long time. I'm like, yeah, it is taking me a long time. Handmade stuff takes a long time, kid. So anyways, if my elbow can handle it, I will do 2 rows on this tonight. I hope my elbow can handle it. I really don't know if it can though, because I really don't want to push it and then it go back to hurting as much as it did last week because that was really uncomfortable. But I was trying to do 1 row every single night on this so that it would get done so that I can start a new project. Also for Nova, the tiny little knit. Knit. It's like a cell phone pouch. I showed you the pattern last time. It's like a cell phone pouch. Does she have a cell phone? No. Will she have a cell phone until she's like in high school? No. And if she does, it'll be like locked down. Like, you can call me and that's it. But yeah. It's such a big project. The only bag I could fit it in is this giant bag from my friend Emmy. It's from Bee Woolen, which is a yarn shop for her. So that is a project I have been working on. It has gotten a fair amount of attention. I'm trying to decide what to talk about next because we still have a shawl, a blanket, and 2 pairs of socks. Yes, I said 2 pairs of socks. Let's just start with the Lisa Frank one because it's the closest. This shawl has grown quite a bit, even though I haven't touched this in a week. I worked on this for several days in a row, and then I worked on it at our May Patreon Zoom crochet knit chat hangout, and I got a fair amount done. And obviously this is my least afraid now because it is neon. I have this much left. This is about how much I had left of the first ball last time. So I finished the first ball of yarn, and now I'm this far into the second ball. And I thought the third ball was in this bag, but apparently it's over there in my whip box, so I cannot show it to you. But the yarn is called Big Twist Rave. This is the colorway Super Beach. It is 100% acrylic, and it is a single ply yarn. I complained at length about the hook that I was using last time, which is the Clover Amore plastic 6.5 millimeter. Hate it. So I ordered a tulip hook, which is a 6.5 millimeter in metal, and it's going so much better. So if you find yourself struggling with the materials, like you're crocheting, even you're knitting, and if you're like fighting the yarn, try a different material for your tool. Whether that be you're using metal, maybe you need to use bamboo. Maybe you're using bamboo and you need to use metal. Just try a different material and see if it makes you happier, because this definitely made me happier. I have done so much on this, you guys. So this little panda is where I was last time. I had done just this little corner. Since last time, turn this around, I have done all of this. So from here down, that's a lot. I know it's going to blow your mind. You think I've been doing so much crochet, and it is a fair amount of crochet, but remember, this is a big yarn. This yarn says it's a number 4 worsted. It absolutely is not, okay? This is a bulky weight yarn. It works up like a bulky weight yarn. It is fluffy and poofy. On no planet is this a worsted weight yarn. You might be able to get away with saying this is an Aran weight yarn, but it takes a 6.5 millimeter hook for sure. So yeah, this is the Just Feel Better shawl, which is a pattern by Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. I have made one of those before, and I'm making another one. It's going to be very large when it's done because I have this to add and another entire ball. And I'm going to use all of it and just make the hugest neon shawl of all time. I think with blocking, this could be done right now, but I want it to be bigger. Of course, the rows are getting very, very long, so the amount of yarn one row uses is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And also, what else did I want to say? I know there's something. Oh, I got this stitch marker at Rhinebeck in 2022 is when I got the stitch marker. It was free. And last time I could not remember, there was a yarn dyer that had given it to me, and it's actually Pantastic Yarns. So if you Google Pantastic Yarns, that is who gave me the panda stitch marker, which I love. They didn't give it to me like specifically to show on the podcast. They were just like handing out little cards with stitch markers, and I happened to have one. So yeah, it's gorge, totally gorgeous. I love it. And when I made the first one of these in fingering weight yarn, I did the whole fade. I did everything. I don't really have to do a fade on this because the yarn is changing by itself. The colors are changing. But I was fading the first one, and I remember at the beginning of the shawl having a hard time. This is a very easy pattern. But for some reason, I kept getting confused and like couldn't figure out where I was in the pattern. And I had to like look at the pattern for a fair amount of that shawl. And this was a couple years ago now. Which I was like, I don't understand why this pattern is confusing to me. Like, it's a granny shawl that increases on one side, and it's very simple and like should be so intuitive. And for some reason, I don't know, my brain just wasn't in the place to do it. When I picked this up, I was like, oh yeah, I remember I have to like, so I actually printed out the pattern, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta have the pattern because I remember I couldn't keep track of where I was last time. Yeah, totally fine this time. I have no idea why it is, other than, you know, maybe just a couple years. I've done it before. Maybe my skill set has grown. So if you find something challenging, whether or not you think it's supposed to be challenging you, if you find that you're having a hard time with something, a hard time keeping track, a hard time remembering, etc., like, it's fun to go back and revisit it later because you may find that your skills have like really grown and you may not have a problem with it at all. At all. And I'm just loving it. I love it. It makes me want to work on this tonight. But I gotta finish that floor pouf. I've put myself on a ban of working on stuff until I finish that floor pouf. Because it's kind of at the point where I don't want to finish it and I need to finish it. That is a huge project. It is taking up a huge amount of space in my whip bin, also my brain. I just need to be done so Nova can sit her butt on Floor Pouf. So yes, this is a Christmas bag. Because why not? It's a bag from No Catchy Name Crochet, who is Ella, who has bags in her shop, I believe right now, unless they've all sold out. She just did an update recently. So the next thing I will talk to you about is socks. I had one night, and it was the night, I want to say it was the night that I realized I hurt my elbow. And I really did not. I wanted to crochet, but I couldn't twist. It just was so painful. So there is like fuzz in my eye. I know I keep like rubbing my eye. Oh, perils of being a podcaster around fiber. You're going to get fuzz in your eye and up your nose at some point. And so literally there's going to be like multiple videos of you on the internet being like, oh no, there's fuzz in my eye. And then apologizing for it. This is life. So what I did, the last time you saw this pair of socks, I had finished one sock. And there's something sticky on the table. So I am not, thanks toddlers, I am not going to put my yarn in that. I had finished this sock last time. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So on the night that I realized I had hurt my arm, I really wanted to do something, and everyone in the whole house was in bed asleep, but I just like could not. I was like really unsettled. I couldn't sleep. And so I stayed awake for a little while, and I actually cast on and knit 2 sock cuffs, which takes a while. It doesn't take that long, but it's not the straight knitting of the sock, right? So the cuff takes a little bit of extra concentration, and nobody was around, so I just did it. And this is what we got. So that night, I want to say it was like a week and a half ago, I did the cuff for this one. Look at that sparkle. And then since then, I've just been picking this up and working on it just a few stitches at a time. So I'm about here. I have quite a ways to go before I get to the heel on this sock. I do 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeter needles, 15 rounds of 2x2 rib. And then for this sock, I'm going to knit 6 inches of plain stockinette before I get to the heel. And then I have, this is just a progress keeper I've been moving to keep track of how much I can do at one time. So I think it was like right here, maybe 2 days ago. It's actually, this is one of my most favorite stitch markers of all time. You can kind of see, it's not really showing up on camera, the right color. It is actually like a pearly blue, and it's from a little company called Pearlsmith. And I actually got this stitch marker and a couple others that were very similar to it from Made by Haley Bailey in her holiday collection last year. And they're freshwater pearls, which I had no idea was like never even crossed my mind. It's just so pretty. Every time I look at it, it makes me happy. And so I put it on these beautiful socks because it's shiny and these socks are shiny. This is a Christmas sock set that was sent to me by my friend Amanda. And I was wearing my Christmas socks, a different pair of Christmas socks that are sparkly, last night to bed, and I love them so much. It is long dog yarn in the colorway Traditions, which is a super sock, sparkle sock base. It's 74% merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So it has, of course, the main color and then this mini that contrasts with it. And it's very like a non-traditional Christmas, but it's definitely Christmas. And I just adore it. I cannot wait to wear these. Oh no, dropped my sock. So that's number 1 pair of socks that I've been working on. And this is the one that kind of goes with me in my mom bag. But I have been kind of pulling it out of my mom bag and just reaching for it because I love it. And I want that to be done. And as we discussed last time, I need to make myself a bunch of new pairs of socks because my foot, while it is the same size as before I had children, it is not the same shape. So I need more stitches or more space. Show you. Here, like in the depth of the heel, it's not exactly the arch. Maybe this is your instep. I don't know what this is called. But here I need a little more space, and I like my socks to be slightly longer. So many of my pairs of socks that I've had for a long time that I made in the year of the sock, what year was that? 2018, 2019, 2020? I don't know. That had to be 2019, maybe. I no longer am comfortable wearing them because they're just like not long enough, which is highly annoying. And they are really tight around that area of my foot because my feet, I guess, spread out a little bit and didn't go back. So I went through my sock drawer and I gave my mom five pairs, I think, of my old socks. And they were very well loved. If she can fit them, she has a smaller foot than me. So she will keep them. If not, I told her it's fine. I'm not going to wear them anyways. I still need to go through my taller socks and see if there's any that are like that. The taller ones are a little easier to stay on because they have more of a leg. So I need to make myself some new pairs of socks. I went and finally organized my yarn, which I had not done since before we moved, and it was just like a disaster. In fact, I couldn't even find anything, and all of my yarn and supplies and everything had been shoved in a closet when we were adding the room to our house before the baby was born. After the baby was born, nothing has been touched, so it was just a disaster area, and I truly didn't even remember where things were, so I pulled it all out, I reorganized it, I put it back. In doing so, I came across this skein of yarn that I actually pulled out last year to make a pair of socks out of. And this yarn was a Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Rochelle. And it is Wisdom Yarns Saki Silk. It is 55% merino, 25% nylon, 20% silk, and you get 440 yards for 100 grams. She actually sent me 2 balls of this, and I just love it so much. One of the balls is in my giveaway basket. It probably will be a prize for the giveaway because I knew I was going to make a pair of socks out of this, and I have just been obsessed with this yarn. And you know this is not my normal color palette. It's black and gray and red, but there is something about this yarn that has made me go every single time I've seen it since she sent it to me. And I have been dying to make a pair of socks out of this. And I was like, you know what? Today, it's the time. It is time to finally make a pair of socks out of this. And once I started, I almost couldn't put it down. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, it's just yarn. It feels like yarn. But there's something about this yarn that is truly fabulous. And it's probably the silk content. I just don't know what it is. I don't want to put it down. I don't want to stop knitting with it. And the colorway of this is like cut off on here. It says color 308. And I looked it up and it's like something volcano. So I labeled this in Ravelry as my silk volcano socks. And I'm not doing any contrast toes, heels, or cuffs. I'm just making straight shorty socks with these. And look at it. Like, it's just a normal sock, right? But I am just obsessed. I'm obsessed. So for the shorty socks, I'm changing up my recipe to see if I can get a better fit. So I did my 15 rounds of 2x2 rib. Instead of doing 15 rounds of stockinette before starting the heel, I have done 20 rounds, which will make it a little higher on my ankle. The fish lips kiss heel that I always do, I added a row. So it used to be that I would omit a row from my fish lips kiss heel, a short row, because it didn't like fit my foot very well, but now my foot is different shape, so I added that row back in. I did that on a previous pair of socks and it fit much better. And now I am working down the foot. Turn it this way so you can see better. So yeah, as you can see, have been obsessed with this sock because I did the cuff that night. Then I did the stockinette. I've since done the heel and part of the foot on the first sock. I keep thinking about these socks. I don't know why. I love this yarn. So one of y'all for the Lisa Frank Mel is going to get the other ball of this yarn that she sent me. And I hope that you make something fabulous with it too. Maybe socks for your toesies. Maybe not. Maybe a hat. Maybe something amazing. So I'm calling these my Silk Volcano socks. Hopefully we'll have some big progress on that next time, because I'm just delighted with them. And I actually already have my follow-up pair of socks after this picked out, since while I was in the yarn, there's another, I should have brought it out here, but it's in my husband's office. That's where my yarn is. And He's working in there, so I cannot go get it right now. So you'll have to wait. You'll have to be patient. It is another sock set sent to me by my lovely friend Amanda. And it's from Mitchell's Fiber Arts, Mitchell's Creations, which she just has the most beautiful yarn. And I want, it's a 100-gram sock and a 100-gram full skein and a 20-gram mini for a sock set. I need to make my mom a pair of socks. I told her when I gave her the 5 old pairs of socks that she's due for another pair of socks from me, for sure. So, but I also really love that yarn. I think I can get 2 pairs of socks. I think I can get a pair with contrast toes, heels, and cuffs done, and a pair just in a straight single skein. So that might be my plan, once these 2 pairs are finished, is to make 2 pairs of socks out of that one sock set. Both shorty socks. The last project I have been working on, which again has had a lot of progress, is my crochet memories blanket. This is a project that literally hibernated for a year. But I've been trying to put on 1 square a night. That has not always worked out, but I have put on a fair amount of squares. This is a pattern. It is a corner-to-corner, join-as-you-go blanket. A corner-to-corner blanket is like nothing revolutionary, right? But I have a method where you can join to like any side of the blanket. You can just pick up and join, and you join as you go, so you don't have 70 bobbins of nonsense trailing off of your blanket. You just do 1 square at a time, and you join as you go. And you just drop some yarn. So I was joining very haphazardly in the beginning. Currently, I'm just working around and around in a square. Eventually, I will have to like rectangle it off at some point. So this is the blanket. I'm in love. I'm in love. This is where I left off last time. So since the last time, I have done this square, this one, this one, this one, this one, which is my favorite, and these 2. This is a Lisa Frank square. Does that make this whole project a Lisa Frank project? Because there's a square that has Lisa Frank colors in it? Yes, that's called Shenanigans. So how many squares is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have done 8 squares in 2 weeks, which is one about every other day. So not every single day, but I have done a fair amount. So I'm just gonna keep working here, and then I'll turn it and work this way down the side. These are all my leftovers. I do have an idea, because all of these minis are 10-gram minis that were sent to me by Marshall as well, from Row 1 Yarns. And I want to say every square takes about 6 or 7 grams of yarn. And so I have all these little bitty minis left. I have an idea to make an even smaller, scrappier blanket with them. But I have a fair amount of minis left. So I'm just going to keep adding until, I mean, I probably have 20 minis left. Maybe not 20, but maybe 15 or 20 in this bag, this giant project bag. And I'm going to keep just adding them until they run out. And then I will go into my yarn stash, and I kind of have scraps and things split out into different little containers. So I have like 50-gram balls, I have scrap balls, and I will go in there and see. I don't mind adding variegated and solid. What I will not put in this blanket is self-striping yarn, because it will totally throw off the vibe. I want 1 square in 1 color. And I know lots of people are making scrappy ones where, like, you know, you have like this much in one yarn and this much in another yarn and the whole square in the rest. That's just not the vibe I'm going for. I'm looking for like a patchwork quilt kind of thing. I love it. I love it so much. So clearly, because I dropped yarn out of this blanket, the next one I had picked out to go was this right here. So I will wrap that back up in the blanket so I don't forget about it. And maybe, just maybe, I will get another square on that done today. It really depends on my elbow, because my elbow is hurting right now. Like, I should take some ibuprofen when we're done with this. So that is all of the yarn things that I've been working on. And when I say all of the yarn things, can I tell you I'm just so proud of that? Because it has been, you know, it's been pretty crazy. And you know that I did not touch yarn for almost months when the baby was having such a problem with his tummy and was up like 6 times a night crying. So he has been doing better. I can't remember if I told y'all this last time or not, but his 9-month appointment, I think, is next week. And before his 9-month appointment, they wanted us to try weaning him off of the Pepsid that he's on. And so I dropped his morning dose. Oh, it went terribly. It went terribly. He was just miserable. So he's back on. And he has been doing really great the last week. Like, he has been sleeping from about 7 p.m. till 4 a.m. without waking up. Last night, he was in bed really late, like almost 8 p.m. he was in bed, and he slept until 6 a.m. this morning. So that's helpful, that he just has been a little calmer and just feeling better in general. Now that we know, he needs to be on the Pepsid. He's allergic to dairy and soy. So many things have to be right. And he also has been getting teeth nonstop. He's not even 9 months old. He has 6 teeth. He has 2 on the bottom and 4 across the top. Nova didn't even get a tooth until she was 9 months old, which is wild. So he has been, he's been doing better, which has made me do better. Nova also has been a little bit less crazy, which thank God, because there was a couple months there where I was like, we're not going to survive. Like, we legitimately are not. You're not going to survive, and neither am I. She has calmed down maybe 30%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. It has been so helpful to have her be just a little bit more reasonable. I wish there was a thing that was like, when you have a baby, there's like all those apps and things that are like, well, at 20 weeks, your baby is learning patterns, and your baby at whatever month is learning how to make associations with things. And like, they might be more fussy and more cranky because their brain is going through a change when they're learning how to walk. There's all this stuff. It's like, be prepared. Your baby will be fussy, but it's because they're learning something. There's nothing like that for toddlers. And she clearly was learning something. She was the worst. Cranky, crying, meltdowns, so enraged all the time. Like, just over the top. Like, out of... And then randomly, she calmed down a little bit, and she just started talking in full paragraphs. Like, her language, she's always been a talker, as you know, if you've been around, but her language is just incredible. Yesterday, we were taking a walk around the park, and she goes, I don't like guys, only girls. I was like, what? Why? And then at the top of her lungs, she was like, boys need to be punished. And I was like, okay. Why? Why do boys need to be punished? She looked me dead in the face and goes, because they don't listen and they eat too much candy. I am dead. That was so funny. But like, she just has, like, with my mom, she'll FaceTime my mom, and she used to talk for like, I don't know, 10, 30 seconds, some nonsense, and then run off to do whatever. She'll have like full-blown conversations now. So clearly her brain was working on something and she couldn't handle it. We almost didn't survive, but we did. I'm sure something else will happen. And she'll be off her rocker again soon. But it has just been so nice to have a little bit of break from the intensity. This week is going to be pretty intense. Yesterday I dropped her off. Well, all of last week I didn't have any childcare because the babysitter had foot surgery. Yesterday I dropped her off and I was like, I don't know. But she did keep her the whole 3 hours. Nova's pretty easy when she's there. She just like hangs out. And then I had to go to a meeting with baby Noah, so he did not get a nap. He screamed the whole way there. We almost got in a car accident. Someone almost sideswiped us like inches. It has been a long time since I have been that close to getting in a car accident. Thankfully, we didn't. So we did that. Baby Noah's sobbing. I feed him in the car. He passes out in the car. I pick up Nova from the babysitter. We have to go to another meeting. We get home. She had a small amount of quiet time. The baby refused to take a nap because he was working on a poop. Then one of my church people, who is just so helpful and so lovely, came over to help us replace the ceiling fans in Nova and Noah's room. So Nova's ceiling fan works, but it had no cover on the light bulb, and it was like dropped from the ceiling, which is a bit dangerous when you have a kid and a bunk bed. So we got one over a year ago. that is like flush to the ceiling. We have not been able to put it up because putting up a ceiling fan is a pain in the butt. And who is going to hold these kids? They want to be up the ladder. And so we just couldn't do it. So he helped us with that. And then the one in Noah's room hums and only works on one speed. So both of them have new ceiling fans. But obviously, as with any project you do, it just never is easy. It took 2 trips to Home Depot. We had the ceiling fans and the whole kits and everything, but it took 2 trips to Home Depot, and he was there from like 3 until about 7:30. So not only did Noah not take a nap yesterday, he was just awake all night because we were working in his room on the ceiling fan. He went through 5 stages of tiredness that I've never seen him do before. So he started out rubbing his eyes. Then he started sobbing, and I was pacing in circles with him in the carrier. He finally calms down. I try to feed him. He won't eat. He starts screaming again. He calms down. Then he is happy and like wants to get down. Loses control of his bodily function. Like he's trying to crawl and he's literally just falling over. Like his muscles, his arms don't want to hold him up. So I pick him back up. Then he's slap happy. And I've never seen a baby be slap happy before. Like he would just look at me and just dissolve into giggles, which was adorable, but he had crazy eyes. So he finally went to bed, slept all night, probably because he was so tired. Nova had swimming lessons last night. She has them every day this week and every day next week, Monday through Thursday, at 6:15 p.m., which is, she normally goes to bed at 6:30. So she did great last night, but she didn't get in bed. They got back at like 7, which, okay, that's only a half an hour past bedtime. But then she needed a snack because she had been swimming, so she had to eat. We were also still working on ceiling fans, so she didn't go to bed until after he left. She was not in bed till like 7:30, 7:45. She was fine. This morning, what a grouch. Oh my gosh. She is so grouchy. She told me she wanted to be bad. And I was like, well, what would you like to do that's bad? She wanted to make faces. And I was like, okay. So we took a break from being good. And I told her she could make as many faces as she wanted. And she said she was making bad faces and mean faces. She was really doing this. And then she said she wanted to hit something. She was angry. And I was like, okay. So she has this stuffed like worm caterpillar thing. She's like choking out the worm and like beating it up. And I was like, that's fine. And then at the end, she was like, I feel better. I was like, okay, can we go back to being good now? And she was like, yeah. She's just ridiculous. You know that? So anyways, there's been shenanigans going on. Truly shenanigans. But hopefully today there's nothing going on. Thank God. I'm going to try and make some bread. Speaking of bread, I have a complaint. Y'all have been following along my bread journey. I've had some bread fails lately. I think I'm going to make a Paul Hollywood bread today. This is the Paul Hollywood 100 Great Breads book. I'm probably going to go to the Italian section and make a bread. I have made his batch bread several times. It is very yummy. I also have made his white bread, which is yummy. What did I make the other day? Oh, this one called Irish soda bread. It's kind of like a cross between a biscuit and a bread, and I didn't really like it. Mostly because it was too much baking soda flavor for me. But my husband did like it because he likes a little bit of bitter things. So, who knows? Maybe the French bread. I might make I'm going to butcher this. I'm so sorry. Pain de campagne. I know that's not how you say it. And a baguette. I might make one of those today because we do need some bread. In the house, I have to make some bread because all the bread you buy at the store has milk and dairy in it, which the baby cannot have. But I also need to break some bread because I love bread and I want to eat it. I really think I'm going to try and make a baguette. I've never made a baguette before. So that will be a quick bread because all of his breads you can do in like a couple hours. Like they either rise for an hour or two and then you shape them and they rise for an hour, or it's even less time than that. The breads in this book, the flour, salt, water, yeast book, these breads take forever. I will have a complaint okay, about this bread in particular. Overnight Country Blonde. This is a pure sourdough bread. I have a wonderful sourdough starter. And I have failed at making this bread not once, not twice, 3 times. Every single time. The flavor is good, but either it's just a disaster. The bread has just failed. Sourdough. And I know some of y'all are going to be like, just use the yeasted ones. They're delicious and I love them, but I am determined to make this recipe and make it work. I have decided to try this time a 5% reduction in liquid because I think that the humidity in our location, because it's Florida and the humidity is like 100% all the time, is affecting the bread and it's making it too soggy. And it's also the temperature. I'm going to make the temperature of the water a little bit cooler because the temperature, I think it's like overproving itself. So we'll see. I will try this recipe one more time. I'm going to split the recipe in half and only make 1 loaf because I don't want to waste 1,000 grams of bread flour on a bread that doesn't want to rise. But I'm going to try it. This is a 3-day process because my sourdough starter is in the fridge. So after this recording, I'm going to get the sourdough starter out of the fridge. I'm going to wake it up. Then tomorrow it will be fed again. Then tomorrow afternoon, I will start the recipe. And then Thursday morning, fingers crossed, I will be able to bake a loaf of sourdough bread. What a labor of love. But the bread is so yummy. The bread is so yummy. I will continue to sing the praises of this bread book. Y'all, the bread that I have made out of this book has been the best bread that I have ever eaten in my life. So if you want to get into bread making, you need that book. What else do we have to talk about? We talked about ceiling fans. We talked about swim lessons. Oh, I have the most random product recommendation for y'all that ever in the history of this podcast. I have a deodorant recommendation. You may say, what business do you have? As a crochet and knitting podcaster, I'm just going to share something with you that I discovered and is amazing. So there's been this push, I think, to like get people to more natural deodorants, which is good because, you know, aluminum's not that great for you. There's a problem with that though. The problem is most natural deodorants flat out don't work. And they may work for you if you live up north or you live in a cold place and you're not constantly sweating. But they do not work in Florida, okay? I am kind of a sweaty person, I think, in general, and I live in a place where it's like it was like 95 degrees yesterday. It was hot, and it has not rained. We're kind of having a drought. It is hot, hot, hot. Natural deodorant does not cut it, okay? The second problem I have with natural deodorant is a lot of it for many, many years has baking soda in it, and that I cannot put on my skin. Like, I discovered this the hard way by trying several times and getting a horrible rash under my arm because my skin cannot handle baking soda. My husband found this deodorant that does not have baking soda in it and it does not have aluminum in it. And it is called MANDO. I'll put a link down below to like Amazon if you want to look at it. It's aluminum free. It says it has 72-hour odor control. It does not have 72-hour odor control in Florida. It might like if you live in Maine or Canada or something. And it comes in a solid and it comes in a cream. It has some ingredient in it that like attacks the bacteria that makes BO and keeps it away. So he tried this for several weeks before informing me about it. He found it at Target. And he was like, it truly actually works. And for him to say that, I'm very impressed because he has the same perspective I do, is that you need actual like heavy duty stuff in Florida because everybody's sweating all the time. This deodorant is vegan, dye-free, cruelty-free, and has no parabens, no phthalates, and no sulfates, and it is aluminum-free, which is just amazing. So it has some ingredient that attacks that bacteria. And I was like, all right, it might work for you, but will it work for me? I don't know. So I bought myself a stick of the man kind. This is called Mount Fuji. That's the scent. They obviously have medley scents in the MANDO deodorant. I was shocked. not only does it works exceptionally. Exceptionally. Like, I have been wearing it for a couple of weeks now. Not only have I not had any skin reaction of any kind, and I have very sensitive skin because it doesn't have baking soda in it. No reaction. My body has liked it. I full on was outside doing stuff almost all day yesterday. In and out of the hot car, holding babies, sweating up a storm. Not one iota of BO. Phenomenal. I then discovered they have a girl version by the same company called Lume. It's literally the same thing. It's just a different name. And I personally found most of the girl scents disgusting. But you might like them. The only one I liked was toasted coconut. It smells really yummy. It smells like you're on vacation at the beach. It works just as well. I'm like blown away by this. The only thing I will say is this deodorant is expensive. It's like $14 for a stick of deodorant, which is a bit excessive to me. But like with inflation, a regular stick of deodorant, I use like Degree, it's like $7. And it didn't even work that well. This stuff actually works. Like there was one Friday, I usually take a shower every single morning. Friday, a few days ago, I got up, I took my shower, I put my deodorant on. We were outside all day, did all the stuff. The next morning, I didn't take a shower because we got up and went to the beach. So I did not get in the water because I need to buy myself a swimsuit. The elastic on my swimsuit has died. And it is no longer appropriate to wear such things. So I need to buy myself a swimsuit before I can get in the water. So I just stayed on the beach, kind of sweaty. And literally, I didn't take a shower till like that night, and it was just fine. Just fine. So, the most random product recommendation I could ever give you is this weird deodorant. I have read some people have feelings online, as they always do, about the commercials being weird, and I've never even seen a commercial for this. I didn't even know it existed until my husband bought it. There's a few people online that are like, maybe it's based on body chemistry because I had it and like it didn't work for me. But I think the overwhelming majority of people are like, this stuff is amazing. So, pretty cool. I will link it down below if you want to look at it. I just like the fact that it doesn't have all the weird stuff in it. And it actually works. Like, I smell great right now, y'all. I smell great. And I have been outside. We took a walk already. And I was pretty sweaty when we got back from that. So, yeah, weird. Deodorant recommendation from a crochet podcast. That's what you came here for, right? The last thing, oh my gosh, I've been talking for almost an hour. The last thing I want to share with you is I wanted to spread a little bit of pod love because I, first of all, cannot believe I forgot this existed. YouTube has closed captioning, which you can turn on, like if you upload a video, you can turn it on. But like if you just are watching a video on YouTube, you can hit the screen and hit the CC button up top and it will like caption the video for you. The captions are not, 100% accurate, but they're pretty close. You can get the gist. I forgot somehow that YouTube does that. And so when I've been up with the baby in the middle of the night, I have been watching Food Network, like Guys Grocery Games, etc., to stay awake. And then I realized randomly that you can do the captions on YouTube, so I don't have to have the sound on. And I was like, I could have been watching Crochet and Knitting Podcast this whole time. This whole time, y'all. I was so irritated, but also so delighted. So I caught up on a few people who I love dearly, such as Kalisha from the Quirky Monday Craftcast, Claudia of the Crochet Luna Podcast, who I also love dearly. I watched all the back episodes of Skendir, who has been a knitting podcast for literally ever, and is one of the only ones. That's from when I very first started watching podcasts on YouTube. Skendir was one of them, and she's one of the only ones that's still around. Like a lot of the other ones that were from back then don't podcast anymore. And it was kind of sad to go through my subscription list on YouTube and like half of the people that I subscribe to don't make videos anymore. And that made me sad inside. But there are some people that I haven't got to catch up on their whole catalog yet, but especially the baby starts sleeping better, like now that I figure this out. But if you don't know, you can get captions on your YouTube videos. There's a couple of podcasts that you should check out because they're dear friends of mine and they deserve your love. And they also make amazing things. So one of them is my dear friend Sam. Hi, Sam. She has the Yarnniffler Podcast. She is in Belgium. I will put a link to these podcasts down below. Just look in the description. And she does a ton of knitting, also crochet, also cross-stitching, which is very cool. And she just makes amazing things. Like I watched your last episode, Sam, the most recent one you uploaded. And she's like making this amazing hoodie for a male friend of hers. And it's huge. It's so much knitting. But she just like winged the hood. It's amazing. So that's a great podcast. Another podcast is Aquila from the Lefty Knitter Podcast. Aquila does so many crafts, y'all. Knitting, crochet, spinning. She has a, what's it called? A circular sock machine. And she does a lot of machine knitting, which is really, really cool. And a bunch of other random crafts as well. And she films hers like vlog style. So like she'll put up a video of like the last week or the last 2 weeks. And it's like you get to see the projects grow throughout the video, which is really cool. And then the final one is a longtime viewer of this podcast named Ruth made her own podcast. And it's called the Counting Sheep Podcast. And some of the stuff that she makes, I am like mind blown by. First of all, she has sheep. She lives in Vermont and she has 4 sheep. I think that is so freaking cool that you have sheep. I don't know that I would want to own sheep personally, but I am like just delighted by the fact that you own sheep. She does crochet, Tunisian crochet, knitting, spinning, like all of it. I think I've seen like 2 episodes, but all of that has been in both episodes, which is amazing. Like, plus she has sheep. You should watch her podcast, okay? The links are down below. Also, I was watching your podcast, Ruth, in the middle of the night last night. Not in the middle of the night, it was at 6 a.m. because he slept all night. For the first time in his life, probably. And I saw this hack that you did, and it's probably not even a hack, and it's not mind-blowing to anyone but me, and I'm like, why have I never thought of this? So you know how when you get yarn in a hank, you then put it on your Swift, you do your ball winder thing, you make a cake. I always take the label and I like shove it in the middle of the cake. And then it pops out at some point. And plus, if I want to work from the middle of the cake, it pops out. It's so annoying. She had the yarn label just on the outside of the cake held in place with a rubber band. And I was like, why have I never thought of this? Why? It's ingenious. It's so simple, and it keeps your yarn label attached to your yarn, and rubber bands are like, what, 2 cents? My gosh. So, life hack. Attach your yarn label to your yarn cake and put a rubber band around it, and it will stay, especially if you work from the inside. So, thank you for that tip. I don't know why I couldn't possibly think of that myself, but I couldn't. So I will put links to those 3 podcasts down below. You should check them out because they're delightful. And they're all friends and long time friends of this podcast. And so I thought I would share a little love. So I have been talking for almost an hour. The baby is like, I can see his fingers twitching. He is also sleeping because he was up all night. He was not up all night. That was a lie. He was up so late. I'm running out of things. I'm running out of coherent words. So I'm going to go and see if I can eat something before he really wakes up. So anyways, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you are working on. Chat with me. Keep the social and social media. And if you would like to enter the giveaway to have this bamboo yarn in these patterns sent to you, then please comment below with your favorite thing to make in the summer, whether it's an item, a pattern, even a recipe. What do you like to make in the summertime? And make sure you are a subscriber to this channel. And then next time I will draw a random number generator. Because this will be a YouTube specific giveaway, I will not be able to email you. Like, I'm not going to know your information until you give it to me and email me. So the way this is going to work is I will use a random comment picker. It will pick a comment. I will say who wins next time on the podcast. So you have to come back and find out, and then you have to email me so that I can get your address and mail this to you. So I will talk to you guys next time. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad. I'm just so glad to have things to tell you now. I'm really tired, but like, it just feels good to be back. It feels energizing. It feels heart fulfilling. Like, I just really think I needed this, especially after that 4-month unexpected hiatus that I had to take just because everything was so hard with the baby. Oh no, emotions. It was just really, really, really hard. And it's not hard now, but it is a little bit calmer. And I have been able to make things again, which really just helped my whole sense of well-being. So I deeply appreciate that. And I'm thankful for that. Tomorrow is going to be a crazy day. I have 2 meetings in the morning. I have a meeting in the morning, a doctor's appointment, a meeting in the afternoon, and a meeting after the kids go to bed. So Thursday, I'll be dead. But maybe we'll have sourdough. I don't know. If you want to follow my bread journey, you just have to follow me on Instagram because I'm always posting about it in stories. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Be kind to yourself until I see you again. Leave me a comment. I love you. Make the things. And I will see you next time. Bye, friends.